Hello, this is Akshay Miklineni, and I'm gonna do my presentation on American Horror Tokyo Jokio, and which is a very interesting propaganda short film from 1943, and it was actually made by Warner Bros. And this is going to be my presentation on it. So in this film, we actually seen like timestamps around 2 minutes and 2 to 3 minutes. We see very like interesting stereotypes about Japanese people, them having very buck teeth, as you can see by this photo, being very nearsighted because in this scene he actually misses his target, which is the fly, and being depicted as very like nearsighted by the eyes and the glasses, them needing to see. And this one particular, them eating a piece of paper, which is very interesting, but also incredibly racist. And this was actually made during World War II, after Pearl Harbor, in order to make the Japanese look horrible to the children. And this is interesting film because it goes through all that type, all through everything. And they also talk in a particular accent, and that's also incredibly racist. And not to mention those American voice actors doing these characters, and of course Americans drew this. And this is a very interesting short film as it goes through this type of propaganda. Also in the film, we see a particular scenes of the fire prevention headquarters and this aircraft carrier. And as you can see by both photos, they have the similarity in the idea of plane crashes. And this stems from an idea of kamikaze pilots, which are basically Japanese pilots who sacrifice themselves for the country. And this also ties into the major Japanese stereotype that Japanese people happen to be suicidal and that they don't really mind sacrificing themselves as long as it's for their country. And that is a very like strange stereotype, especially to show the children, because like you see like all these plane crashes and it's supposed to be comical in a way in order to make it seem good, but it's just a very strange way to depict something as serious as suicide and the idea of like sacrificing yourself just because you're just doing it for your country. And you can see like how many plane crashes are on this like aircraft carrier and like how many are in this area. It's just like a very strange way to depict it in a propaganda, especially, and just to make Japanese people look horrible and just like ultimately not people, because like it makes them look like not like actual people because all they think about is suicide and having to sacrifice themselves. Even in the film, we see like around the end, after like 5 minutes, we see like some Japanese people actually trying to sacrifice themselves in order to serve their country in this matter, which is absolutely horrifying to think about because we may not see it, but this does represent American horror, as this is shown to children, and children are gonna see this. And of course many children saw this because this was like one of the most popular like cartoons in the time. And also furthermore, like not to mention Japanese people, we also see Germany and other countries, but one especially right here is Germany. And we see one of the war chiefs being represented as a donkey and also talking like a donkey in order to give it more of a comical sense to it. And also the way his name is Lord Hee Haw, because apparently that's the sound donkeys make. And Chief Windbag, like it's a way to ridicule them. And also we see Adolf Hitler in this photo, and during like the scene, his mustache is like twitching all over the place. He also has like a weird like face to him. His ears are huge, and even he has like a very strange face shape, and his everything about him is like very off, and he's represented in a comical manner, but that's not really the impression we should really use because remember he's a very harsh dictator. He killed many Jewish people all because he didn't believe in their rights, and the fact that he's being depicted in such a funny way in order to make people think that he's like hilarious in order and isn't the best representation, and many children are going to think that he was funny, but he wasn't. He was just a very harsh and horrible person, and he killed over 4 million Jewish people, and the fact that he's just being represented in this matter isn't the best thing for children, as they're gonna see this and think that he was somehow good, but no, he wasn't. And the fact he was shown in a comical manner and everything, people are gonna try to like maybe like imitate his mustache, think that he think that the way he talks is funny, the way that they talk is funny because of their German accents, but that's just ultimately racist, and not to mention a bad depiction of who Adolf Hitler really was. And of course, as I mentioned before, he was a terrible person, and this is going to be shown to children. As we end off here, although this isn't as you see like as horrifying as other films today, where they're talking about like murder mysteries, comical like horror movies, and even like ghost demons and all that, and ghouls, exorcisms and all that, but like that's not all just horror. This is also kind of seen as horror because it represents the true nature of Americans. People happen to be having to discriminate other races, having to make them look bad just to feed into their egos. And we see this just from this cartoon alone, from this very short film, because it was made by Looney Tunes, and directed by Norman McCabe. And this was shown to many children since Looney Tunes, created by Warner Bros., was a very popular cartoon during the time, cartoon production during the time. And many children, of course, saw this, and that's what makes it horrifying is that this was shown to children. This is showing the true American horror because like Americans, and this is the true side. They're racist. They don't care about representing other races in a bad way as long as they are seen as good. But no, they aren't. No one's the great person here. Everyone has their own flaws. However, the fact that this film was made in order to ridicule other races, in order to help children defend Americans, all because their other races are represented in a terrible way in order to get more attention and views, because this was made during World War II. So this means they can even get children and many adults to support their cause in the war because this was a propaganda film. Everything about this is horrifying as it represents the true American character, because it doesn't have to be entirely scary. Because I wasn't scared during this film. I was actually afraid because this was shown to innocent lives. This is going to affect the way people think about other races. So, and that's what makes it actually terrible and horrifying, because it doesn't have to be entirely like scary and like a mystery, because that's not what true horror is all about. It's about how other people are affected, and that's American horror, because America has gone through a lot of propaganda and also a lot of racist stuff in the past centuries, all because America wanted to feed into their egos and ultimately be seen as as the better race and the better country due to power and selfishness. But overall, thank you for listening to my presentation and have a great day. And also, look up Tokio Jokio on YouTube as the whole film was on there. And it's a very interesting and eye catching short film, which of course won't give you any jump scares, but it would also feed into the idea of what Americans actually did and their true character and what they do to hopefully get other people to support them.